Hey there, so I've made some good progress on the Dragon Avatars mod, and I just thought I'd show it off. It was really difficult stuff figuring it out. I had a lot more trouble than I thought it was going to be, but I got it working, so that's pretty exciting. So, I've got a few new models here. So I've got Hidden with the standard body type, then I've got Sunny with a small body type, which is just slightly smaller, and I'm going to have a bunch of these different model scales, which really only change the head, body, and snout sizes, because the 2D decals have sizes if you see on these template ones that are a lot larger than they appear there, so you can just leave the excess bits transparent, but the body parts I can't really do that for, so I've got to have different models for the different scales, so that way characters can have slightly different body shapes. And then I've also got a chunky mudwing scale for clay, so a few different models. There's going to be a bunch more model scales and more default textures to go with it, but that's just a few for testing purposes because, as you can see, I start out and I'm just the default Minetest human skin, and this is how you'll start. When you boot in your world, you want to hit slash and then dragon underscore avatars in all lowercase, and that's the command to open up the menu. So there's a few buttons here. If you click change model, it will take you to a model name menu, and here you'll want to enter in all lowercase the name for the model you want. There's standard, small, and chunky mud. So I'm going to do standard, and of course there will be a list of the different model names because those aren't really as customizable as the textures are, but I'll have instructions in the final mod if I ever release this with lists of all the names and stuff, how you're supposed to put them in, because the textures are actually named different than what you would type in the menu here in the textures button, which I'll get to soon, but that'll be explained anyway when the mod releases. But yeah, I'll put in the standard name, and as you can see, it switches it. Then I'll click back. You type in the name and you press enter. Then I click back, takes me back to the menu. Now let's say I wanted to change to one of those default template ones. Let's first do Sunny, just to show you a texture that doesn't really line up with the character model well. The textures are each designed around their respective character models, and you can have multiple textures for a single character model and stuff. They're independent of them, but the textures are filled out according to what the template for that model is, so textures that are designed for a different model shape probably aren't going to work right for another model shape. They're going to look weird, especially on the body and stuff. So yeah, I'll press enter, and you'll see it turn into a human skin there, and this is because for some reason in the Minetest player API mod, the functions for changing the player's texture just weren't working. So I had to come up with a really weird roundabout way that involves changing your model multiple times and re-registering the model. So it's really weird, and I'm not entirely sure why it wasn't working the way it seemed like it was supposed to work, and why this way does work. But this is what works, so you have to press OK after this, and then that will change it to a giant backwards-facing version of the model. But don't worry, your texture and model are set still. You just hit back, and then to make it look right, you hit exit, and there. And as you can see, because I have the standard model with Sunny, it looks off. If I wanted to say change to a different texture, open up the menu again, go to change texture, I'll put in hidden, press enter, OK, back, and exit, and now it's back to being just hidden. And of course there's different model types too, so I can change my model to whichever one I want. And also, each model has a texture assigned to it at the start, so what you'll want to do is first change your model to the one you want, and then change your texture to the texture that you want, and that will set that model to that texture. So if you ever change into that model again, it'll be with the texture that you set it as, but I think it resets every time you load up the world. So as a general rule of thumb, whenever this mod comes out, the way to do it is just, if you want to play as a specific character, you go in, set your model to the model you want, and then set your texture to the texture you want, then you just exit out, and you'll be good. Now, if at any time you press the escape key while you're in this menu, that'll close the menu, and it'll automatically set you back to the default Minetest skin, just as a precautionary measure, because I don't really want there to be any weirdness going on with skins looking odd. So anytime pressing the escape key will just send you back to this. There might still be ways to break it if you don't do some kind of weird connection of inputs. Minetest menus are kind of odd, and every time you press enter or click a button, it's gonna like take in all the input from it, and I'm still learning about it, but I think I got it generally working for the mod, so yeah, I guess that'll just about do it for now. I still have to test this with multiplayer and see what happens if one player puts on a skin or a texture that isn't in the mod for another player, and if it'll actually show them with whatever their texture is, despite the other player not having that texture, or if both players need to have all of the textures involved for it to work properly. Hopefully that's not the case, and this can work just like putting on your own Minecraft skin and playing on a server and everyone else can see your Minecraft skin despite not having the file stored on their computer, but yeah. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to at some point have this mod finished and maybe released if I can. Not sure if since it's based off of an existing IP, I don't know if that'll cause some weird licensing issues, but hopefully I can just put it out there for free and on the Minetest forums or something, and you can download it and play it for yourself. Anyway, that's all for now. Still got a lot of work to do, and I'll see you next time.